Let me ask you something really personal for a second. When was the last time you opened your banking app and actually felt good about what you saw? Not relieved, not panicked, not just neutral, actually good, like genuinely proud of yourself. Because there's a specific number in your savings account where that feeling shifts permanently, and it's not $1 million. It's not even six figures. It's $20,000. And I know that might sound underwhelming if you have been chasing some massive wealth goal, but stick with me here because what happens at 20,000 is so much more profound than most people realize. And if you're not there yet, I'm going to show you exactly how to get there with practical habits you can start building today. Hey guys, it's Flint. Let's talk about what's actually happening at the $20,000 mark because this goes way deeper than just having more money sitting in an account. The first thing that changes is something I call the acceleration effect, and honestly, this is where the real excitement lives. Think about what your money was doing when you had $10,000 saved. If you were invested in earning an 8% annual return, you were generating around $800 per year from that balance. That's about $66 a month, which is nice, maybe covers a streaming subscription or two, but it's not exactly moving the needle on your life. Now double that to $20,000 at that same 8% return, and suddenly you are looking at $1,600 per year flowing into your accounts without you doing a single additional hour of work. That's over $130 every month, generated entirely by your existing money working on your behalf. That may be a phone bill, it may be an electric bill or a water bill, it may be a nice dinner out with your significant other. Here's why this matters so much more than the raw numbers suggest. Your wealth is now compounding at a visibly faster rate. And this is where the math starts getting almost unbelievable when you zoom out. Say you have been saving and investing $500 per month. Getting to your first $20,000 took you months of saying no to things, staying disciplined even when it felt pointless. But here's the part that makes every one of those months worth it. Your second 20,000 does not take as long. It takes around 70% of the time you spent on the first 10,000. You shaved a massive amount of time doing the exact same thing, contributing the exact same amount, just because that first 20,000 is now running alongside your contributions, generating its own returns. And it keeps compressing from there. The third 20,000 happens even faster. The fourth, faster still. Fast forward to when you were sitting on $500,000 invested at that same 8% return, and you were generating almost $40,000 every year, or more than $3,200 a month, completely automatically. Get to $1 million, and that same 20,000 arrives in about 90 days, one single quarter of a year. The seed you plant at 20,000 today is the foundation of a machine that eventually runs largely without you. But you have to plant it first. Now here's the second massive shift that happens at 20,000, and this one lives entirely in your head but affects literally every decision you make with money going forward. When most people are below 20,000 in savings, they are operating from a place of quiet scarcity. Even if they would never describe themselves that way, their financial decisions are being driven by fear at a subconscious level. Fear of running out. Fear of one bad month wiping them back to zero. Fear of what happens if the car breaks down or the medical bill arrives or the job disappears. And that fear is exhausting because it consumes mental bandwidth constantly. You're not thinking about building wealth or developing new income streams or evaluating opportunities. You're just trying to hold the line. But at 20,000, something genuinely shifts. Here's a useful reference point. The median savings balance for an American adult is roughly $8,000. So at 20,000, you are sitting at 2.5 times the median, and that money is working for you. That's not just a financial fact, that's a psychological anchor. You've crossed the threshold from someone trying to survive financially to someone who is starting to build something real. You can absorb a setback and still be in five-figure territory. You have cushion. And that cushion changes how your brain processes the world around you. Expenses that used to feel catastrophic, a car repair, a dental bill, a broken appliance, become inconveniences instead of emergencies. And that distinction is everything. Because when problems are just inconveniences rather than crises, you keep moving forward instead of being thrown completely off track. The third reason 20,000 is such a turning point is what it does for your career options, and this is genuinely one of the most underrated benefits of hitting this milestone. Think about where you are professionally when you have little to no savings. Your employer essentially holds all the leverage. You can't ask for a raise aggressively because you are terrified of rocking the boat. You can't walk away from a toxic environment because you need that paycheck arriving in 2 weeks. You can't take a risk on a better opportunity because the interview process takes time, and time costs money when you are running tight. You are negotiating from desperation, whether you realize it or not. 20,000 changes that negotiating position completely. If you can live on $2,000 to $3,000 per month, you suddenly have 6 to 10 months of genuine runway. That's enough time to walk away from something that's damaging your health or your happiness, take a breath, and find something genuinely better rather than just grabbing the first thing available. It's enough time to pursue a certification, develop a new skill set, or even launch a side hustle that might eventually replace your job entirely. The career pivots that feel impossible when you have no cushion become genuinely viable with 20,000 behind you. And here's the compounding effect on your career side of this. When you know you can walk away, you show up differently. You ask for the raise. You push back on unreasonable requests. You bring confidence to meetings and negotiations because you are operating from strength rather than fear. And that confidence is visible to the people around you. It leads to better assignments, more recognition, and ultimately, more income, which accelerates your wealth building even further. Now let's talk about something that does not get discussed enough, which is the hidden financial tax that comes with having very little money. When you are operating on a thin margin, everything costs you more as a percentage of your income. Overdraft fees of $35 hit you repeatedly when you have nothing left in your account before payday. Banks charged nearly $10 billion in overdraft fees in one recent year alone, and some customers got hit more than 30 times in a single year. Monthly maintenance fees at major banks can run $12 just to keep an account open, unless you maintain a minimum balance. Most struggling savers cannot hit. You can't buy in bulk because the upfront cost is out of reach, even though buying in bulk saves 20 to 30% on many purchases. You buy the cheap version of things that fall apart quickly because the quality option requires more cash up front. You pay insurance bills monthly instead of annually, which costs more per year than the discounted annual rate. All of these costs add up to a real financial penalty for being at the bottom. 20,000 starts breaking you free from that penalty structure. The fourth enormous shift at 20,000 is that you officially enter what I think of as the real investor class. Not because the investments themselves are any different, but because the scale of your participation finally starts to matter in a meaningful way. You can fully fund your Roth IRA contribution for the year, which for 2025 sits at $7,000, and still have $13,000 left over. Try doing that when you only have $10,000 total saved, and you are sacrificing 70% of your entire financial cushion to do it. At 20,000, you can genuinely diversify your portfolio across index funds, ETFs, bonds, real estate investment trusts, and other vehicles. Some index funds have minimum investment requirements of $3,000, and now you can access all of them. You can set aside a portion as a true long-term untouchable position, ride out the inevitable market dips without panic selling, and actually add to positions when the market pulls back because you have the reserves to do it without jeopardizing your emergency fund. And this brings us to what might actually be the most important reason 20,000 matters, which is what it proves about you. Getting to 20,000 from zero is not easy, not for the vast majority of people. It requires months of saying no to things you wanted. It requires tracking where every dollar goes and making uncomfortable choices repeatedly over a sustained period of time. It requires sitting with delayed gratification and trusting that the sacrifice now will pay off later. There is a famous psychology study from Stanford where researchers tested children's ability to delay gratification by offering them one marshmallow immediately or two marshmallows if they waited 15 minutes. The children who were able to wait went on to demonstrate stronger academic performance, higher achievement scores, and better outcomes across multiple areas of life compared to the ones who grabbed the immediate reward. The discipline to wait, to choose the bigger future reward over the smaller immediate one, is one of the most powerful predictors of success across nearly every domain. When you reach 20,000 in savings, you have proven you have that muscle. You chose the two marshmallows over and over and over again across months or years. That identity, that self-image of being someone who controls money rather than being controlled by it, now colors every financial decision you make going forward. You are not the person who blows the savings account on impulse. You are the person who builds. So how do you actually get there if you are not yet at 20,000? 3 practical moves that work. First, get brutally honest about your starting line. You cannot close the gap between where you are and 20,000 if you do not know exactly where you are today. Calculate your actual net worth, add up everything you own, and subtract everything you owe. Then figure out how much is coming in and how much is genuinely going out each month. Most people are genuinely surprised by both numbers. Second, hunt for the leaks. Spend 30 days tracking every single expense. Not your mental estimate of your spending, the actual numbers from your statements. Most people who do this exercise honestly find $200 to $500 per month in spending they were not fully aware of. Subscriptions that renewed and got forgotten. Delivery fees that quietly doubled over 2 years. Convenience spending that adds up to far more than it feels like in the moment. Find those leaks and plug them. Then redirect that money directly toward your 20,000 goal automatically, so it never sits in checking long enough to get spent. Third, attack the income side just as aggressively as the expense side. If you have not received a raise in the past year and your performance has been solid, research salary benchmarks for your role and make the ask. A 5 to 10% raise on a modest income can add hundreds of dollars per month to your savings capacity and compress your timeline to 20,000 dramatically. A weekend side hustle, selling unused items, picking up freelance work, and any skill you already have can accelerate things even further. Every additional dollar you can direct toward this goal does 2 things simultaneously. It gets you closer to the milestone, and it reinforces the identity and discipline of someone who is serious about building wealth. Treat every single dollar like an employee working for you. Get in that business ownership mindset. Here's the thing about 20,000 that I want to leave you with. Getting here is genuinely hard. The road requires real discipline, real sacrifice, and real patience. But the version of your life that exists on the other side of this milestone is qualitatively different from the one before it. Not because of what you can buy with the money, because of what the money does to your options, your confidence, your compounding, and your relationship with the future. You stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop running from financial emergencies and start positioning yourself for financial opportunities. And here's the beautiful part. Once you prove to yourself you can reach 20,000, the next 20,000 is faster, and the one after that's faster still. The hardest part of this whole journey is behind you the moment you hit that milestone for the first time. So if you are working toward it right now, keep going. The discipline you are building is not just saving money, it is building a completely different financial life, and your future self will absolutely thank you for every single sacrifice you are making today. If this helped you see the 20,000 milestone differently, drop a comment below and tell me where you are in the journey. I read every single one.